Hi, Sandra Wilson here. I'm a clinical hypnotherapist who helps people with ADHD to cope better with emotional dysregulation and in particular a horrible little symptom known as rejection sensitive dysphoria or RSD. And a lot of people haven't actually heard of this, but you will just know how it feels. So here are a number of ways that rejection sensitive dysphoria can show up, and I'm going to give you a little tip at the end, so stick with me. So you might feel devastated by criticism, whether that is real criticism or perceived criticism. You might struggle with feeling like you have been physically attacked when you perceive rejection, and the important word here is perceived as well as real rejection. So it's a physical feeling. It just feels like somebody's punched you in the stomach. You might struggle with feelings of needing to be perfect, to always get things 100% correct. You might notice saying yes to people when you don't want to and being afraid to say no, and that's what we call people pleasing. You may avoid situations where you feel that you may be judged or rejected. So that can of course lead to loneliness, social anxiety, and not being connected to people enough. You might withdraw or have sudden outbursts, like emotional outbursts, after you've received feedback, and this can be very problematic in the workplace, especially if you find it hard to control your emotions. You might feel intense shame or embarrassment when you don't succeed at something or perceived failure. And you may crave validation from others other than yourself. So recognition and validation. So other people telling you, yes, you're okay. Yes, that's right. Yes, you're right. Okay, so you might struggle to do that for yourself. Now, rejection sensitive dysphoria is more common in people who are neurodivergent, but of course it can happen to anybody, especially given that neurodivergent people, especially people with ADHD, often absorb years and years of negative messages. So all of those negative messages, for example, being told you're lazy, that you aren't, that you're a daydreamer, that you aren't helpful, being told that there's something a little bit wrong with you, all of those negative messages are absorbed by your nervous system. And what tends to happen is the nervous system ends up becoming very, very sensitive, and you'll find that you are just in what we call the survival emotional brain a little bit more often. So the negative messages that you absorb then create your beliefs, your belief system. So you might think, well, the reason I'm being rejected is because I'm weird, I'm broken, I'm not good enough. I'm not good enough. That is a biggie. And you may have grown up being told that you're too emotional, or that you can't do certain things. Why would anyone want to put up with you, be a friend to you? Why would anyone seek you out for friendship? And you may start to believe that you don't deserve to be liked or to be loved. And again, that is huge. So what would be preferable to feeling like this? Imagine receiving a text from a friend or a boss or a colleague that is not that clear. It might say, oh, really sorry, I'm not able to do that. I can't do that on whichever day. You've been rejected in that text message. And imagine just being able to shrug it off and just think, well, okay, that's fine. Maybe they're busy, maybe they don't really mean to be quite so abrupt. Imagine the difference if you just stopped caring so much about whether you had been rejected or criticised or made a mistake. Imagine being able to say no more to people rather than yes when you really don't want to say yes. Imagine just being able to enjoy your friendships, your job, your relationship, knowing that you don't have to always agree with what people say or do, that you can have your own views. Imagine that you could just feel so secure and self-accepting that even if someone does reject you, it really doesn't matter. And it's really crazy how it shows up, right? Because you know deep down, I hope that you know deep down, that when you start to feel this sensitivity to being rejected, it is just a defense mechanism. It's your brain trying to protect you. Okay, so the part of your brain that's responsible for throwing you into these fight or flight emotional states is trying to keep you safe. So at the root of it, if you started to feel more self-accepting and safer being you, and I can't overemphasize the importance of feeling safe being you, even if you have flaws, even if you are not perfect, even if some of your ADHD symptoms make it very difficult to thrive, if you truly believed that you are good enough as you are, even if there might be room for improvement, what would life be like? Anyway, I do hope this is helpful, and do let me know what you think. And I'll be back with more content another day. Bye for now.